Hey guys, welcome to another video. And okay, so this is actually kind of a reshoot. Tonight we are talking about J.R. Ward's Covet. I'm not sure if this is the first or the second. It's listed as a novel of the fallen angels, and the other book that's listed in the front here is called Crave. So I'm not quite sure how this works. This one follows. Okay, before I get into that, I have not read the other book in the series. I have not read Crave, so I can't comment on that one. But this one follows Jim Heron. He is essentially not a very... He's a good guy, but he's not always a very nice guy. Let me just change the angle slightly here. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit out of practice, so I don't quite know what I'm doing anymore. Okay, so Jim is essentially, he dies in an accident and is reincarnated. He basically dies, goes to heaven, and the angels basically say, well, you know what, we have to send you back, bye. And he is sent back to Earth to help A, fight a demon, and B, save someone's soul in the process. It's an interesting concept. It's not one that I've really seen before. This is kind of awkward. This is one of the many sort of books that my grandmother gave me. She basically went out, the two of us really got into like vampire books, and she basically went out one night or one day and bought this, and she bought a couple of other books, and yeah, she ended up like just saying, oh, right, there you go, have some books. Now that said, the concept is... Hey, stop it. Stop that. The concept is interesting. It's not something, as I said, it's not something I've seen before. The only other... I've read the other book that I have by J.R. Ward is one of the Black Dagger Brotherhood novels. And both books are very well written. This one is kind of as interesting as both books are interesting. Both are very well written. The characters are all unique. The kind of the villain of this particular book is memorable. She actually has a threat factor to her, which, if I'm being very honest, a lot of these books don't really have that. The one kind of drawback that I can see is that the book, and this is something I'll talk about when I do get to the other J.R. Ward novel. I'll probably talk about this again, but the sexual, there is a lot of sex in this. For those of you who are wondering, yes, it is an adult novel, so little kids aren't really young readers are probably not going to get access to this, I don't think. Not sure how, if bookstores would restrict sales of this particular novel to specific demographics, but so there is a lot of foul language. There is a lot of sex, and there is violence, and the violence and the language don't bother me. I mean, I swear like a sailor when I get angry, because it's just something that I do. But the sexual stuff, it just comes out of nowhere. The sex here is explicit, it is frequent, and there's really no... I can't really say that there's no reason for it, because there kind of is, but there's no build up to it. There's no there seems to be absolutely no reason for it occasionally. In the case of the villain, who's kind of getting laid, who gets laid, a couple of times in the book, it makes sense because she uses sex to get what she wants, essentially, and to gain more souls and such. But then you have the guy that Jim is trying to save, and he meets a girl. They know each other for I don't know how long, a couple of days basically, before they eventually get together. And it comes out of nowhere that it's almost like, oh well, yeah, let's get together, let's let's shag, basically, and I don't have a problem with explicit sex in fiction, but here it just, I don't know, it feels forced. It's almost as if the author just kind of went, how many sexual encounters can I throw into this book, and how many, how frequently should it happen, and how graphic can I make it? Which, I mean, okay, the scenes are well written, but it seems like there's no real reason other than to, titillate the reader, which, I mean, I can't really complain about that. It is a good book, and yes, I suppose I would recommend it to people who are kind of a fan of this sort of like urban fantasy style of book. I generally kind of avoid books that have anything to do with religion in general, and the idea of some guy dying and then going to heaven and having the angels kind of say, oh well, we actually need you on earth. It's not something that I would typically read, but the religious aspect, the Christian religious aspect of the book is barely touched on, which I actually really like, because yes, it's they talk about it, but they're not trying to shove it down your throat, so to speak. So yes, I would recommend it, but only if this is something that you guys would be interested in reading. I highly doubt that I'm going to go and find the other books in the series, if there are any more. I haven't seen any more of these, so I don't know if there are any more. But with that said, I feel like if I've read this and I've read one other book, I think I've kind of got a good idea of Ward's kind of style and kind of the stuff that she writes about in general. So I highly doubt that I'm going to go further than the two books that I have of hers. But yeah, I mean, if it's something that interests you, check it out. If not, well, then it doesn't interest you. So that was my review for Covet. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This one was kind of off the cuff. As I said, I haven't done a video in a while, so I'm a little bit out of practice. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did. If you guys have read, let me know in the comments section if you guys have read this book, or if you haven't read it, are you likely to read it? If you have read it, did you like it? Did you not like it? Why or why not? Drop all that stuff in the comments section. If you want to see more book reviews, or you've looked at my channel and you like what you've seen, maybe hit that subscribe button, and if you do, ring the bell so that whenever I upload, you get a notification, because that's the only way you're really going to know if I upload. Anywho, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Cheers, guys.